Interesting.
Yeah. So what do you got on Johnny Manziel returning to College Game Day in 2026, Ben? You think it's all overblown, like it was a genuine accident, maybe he missed his flight or something, or do you think Johnny Manziel's on a bender right now?
Dude, I hope he's not on a bender, man. I want what's best for Johnny football. Freaking love that guy, dude. He was so fun. The I don't know. I don't know. But also too, I feel like you never can never guess who these guys that are gonna be the ones on all of these like sports talk shows, and I feel like there's always people on there every year. There's a new person. I'm like, why is like really this guy? Like this guy's on it? Like I remember seeing freaking who is it? EJ Manuel on like an ESPN broadcast one day. I was like, dude, what? Like I thought I'd never see that name again. Yeah, I don't know, dude. It'd be nice. Be nice to have Johnny Football around. It's always a nice personality.
Yeah, I need football.
What a legend. What a legend, dude. Do you think if he didn't get drafted by the Browns, he might have actually had a career?
I think if he decided to actually study his playbook, he would have a career. I don't think Cleveland had anything to do with it. We've seen talent rise to the top, no matter what organization there are. So I think there are positions that need help. Like a topic I've sort of written down is the the weapons have to matter for a QB. Like
Oh, for sure.
you know what I mean? Like the double edged sword is like I get when people are like, oh, that guy's a product of his weapons, but also they need to. So like, would M. Menzel had a better career if maybe he wasn't in Cleveland? Yeah, but I think the bigger thing that like you saw glimpses of with Baker that Baker was going to be that Baker had the potential to be a stud. You know what I mean? With his Cleveland time, even before he got to Tampa, you know what I mean? Because you can't even say Carolina because he got benched in Carolina. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you see glimpses of the person. It's just a matter of what are they. So
I was gonna say too, I think what happens sometimes is like a team like yes, a team needs a quarterback, but like they're not really ready for, the rookie quarterback to come in and step in. Like either, the running game isn't very good, the offensive line isn't very strong, the weapons outside aren't that great, maybe the defense isn't that great, but like maybe their quarterback play is so bad and there's, a guy sitting there when they're ready to draft that is like, you don't want to pass up on this guy, but you end up taking him, and it might be, 2 years before you should have taken a rookie quarterback, and now this guy ends up struggling, and teams give up on him and they go elsewhere. And it was like, well, maybe if the team was ready for that quarterback to step in, then it would have been a different story. You know?
I mean, I definitely understand what you're saying. I don't, you know, it's an interesting point, but I feel like quarterback is unless you're getting a Justin Jefferson, a Jason Taylor, um, uh, a Trent McBride, and even then Trent McBride, I'd be like that wasn't he probably even still isn't worthy of a number one pick, a first round pick. Um, even though he's arguably the best tight end in the league right now. You know what I mean? Like it depends on what's out there. And yeah, you're right. Like there are teams that need like Cleveland on offense. Like I know they're going to have a high pick, and I don't know how they feel about Shador, but like should they consider a quarterback? Yes, but also if they're like they don't love one of the QBs, should they consider trading back and getting more picks? I was like, yeah, you always need to look at every trade like you're trying to get your team better, and and so I know sometimes some trades there's been like lopsided trades because the player that got traded hit and the other people didn't, but like you know, the Mahomes trade is a great example. Like Buffalo got 4 swings at it. If they miss all 4, they miss all 4, which was what happened. But if they hit all 4 and all 4 were professional Hall of Famers, now you might be like, oh, Kansas City still got over. They got a quarterback. They got a Hall of Famer. They got arguably the second best quarterback of all time, like type of thing. So like it's both sides of the coin. So I see what you're saying, but it's like, what do you need? And you need the QB is the most important position. So like you need
For
QB
sure.
more than you need some other stuff,
For sure. But like, I don't know, you could like here's a good example, I guess. Like I know you talk fondly of him because he helped you a lot in fantasy for a handful of years, but like David Carr.
Yeah.
Like David Carr, super was he first overall?
Yeah.
Okay, first overall draft pick to new team. Obviously they need a quarterback, but he was like the most sacked player in football for years because they didn't have a good O line. The Texans
has
never.
the record. I think he still has the record for
Yeah,
most.
yeah. It's like Texans never really did anything. They were never really a threat while he was there. They weren't a good team.
Oh, absolutely.
He was a good quarterback, but when you're getting sacked 60 times a season, and you're running for your life on every down, then like you don't really, I don't know, you don't get the proper opportunity to be what you can be. And so it's like, yeah, I mean, you need a quarterback, so someone's got to get thrown in there. I think that's where you see these teams that, like the Raiders, where it's like obviously they need a quarterback, but they're like, yeah, we're not really probably in good shape to throw a rookie behind that line, so let's let Gino suffer for a couple years until we find someone.
David Carr currently has the most time sacked at 73 at 76 correction in 2002. He also has the third spot with 68. And that was in 2025. So he's on this list as the first and third person.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. And I mean, and I've even watched, I mean, lots of these rookies end up going through it. And some of it is on them, like there are the quarterbacks that hold the ball too long and get sacked a lot because of it. And then there's the ones like, it's kind of that like eye test thing. Like you can, when you're watching the game, whether like this quarterback is getting sacked a lot because they're being too indecisive or whatever it is versus like, oh no, he has 1 second to throw the ball on every down.
Of the top 10, the Texans are on this list 3 times.
Yeah, I believe it.
Because Deshaun Watson in 2018 is on the list for being sacked 62 times.
Yeah.
So of the top 10, they have 3 of them.
And he's a good example of the other side of it. Like, I'm sure the O-line wasn't great, but that guy held the ball way, way too long, never adapted to NFL offenses. That guy, it's amazing. Like, he's got for lots of reasons, very strange and odd career. But I always think about, like, he was with the Texans. They literally, like, couldn't figure it out, and they had to bring in some of his, like, old college coaches to adapt the offense to actually, like, be something that he could be successful in. Because he just couldn't run an NFL offense.
And Caleb last year tied for third in the most time sacked.
Yeah, and that was a combination of both. They had bad O-line, and he was holding the ball way too long. And that's one of the, like, the give and take with those, like, improv quarterbacks, the ones that are really great at, when the play breaks down, they can make some magic happen. But I feel like the younger guys that have that skill, like, kind of do it too much, and end up, like, trying to make plays that aren't there, and they end up making a lot of mistakes and taking a lot of sacks because of it. When maybe the better play would have been to throw it at your receiver's feet 2 seconds into holding the ball rather than run around for 6 seconds and lose 12 yards.
Who are you describing, dude? Kyler Murray?
He's another great example. But also, too, to Kyler's credit, they've drafted one offensive lineman in the first 2 days of the draft in like 7 years.
Hmm.
Like last year, I think was the first time they drafted an O lineman in the first round since he's been there.
All right. Hypothetical. The Bears make the Super Bowl.
No,
No.
I'll take the other side no matter what.
No, you have no clue what's going to come out of my mouth.
It doesn't matter. I mean,
All right, let's
I'm
hear it.
already start.
I'm
Let's hear
just
it.
saying,
Unless you're saying,
if the Bears make the Super Bowl,
uh-huh.
where do you rank Caleb Williams on your list of top current quarterbacks?
If they make the Super Bowl,
If they make the Super Bowl.
probably still. It depends on how he wins it. If he wins it the way he's been all year, which is with last second place, then maybe he cracks into the top 10. But it depends on, like, now if he wins it being a dominant quarterback, um, then that would be different. But it's still like, like everybody talked about that great second half he played against the Packers. Not the game they won, the game they lost, where they lost on that interception, where he had like a great second half, and then he had a great 4 quarters against Cleveland, but it's Cleveland. Well, I mean, I guess they do have a good defense. And then then the next game was the Packers again, and he didn't play good the first 2 quarters. So like, it would be a like, how does he play? You know what I mean? It's and without knowing, because like if he plays well enough in the and every game, all 4 quarters, he's awesome. Like I just saw him live, and he was great. He was good for the whole game, except for the last throw. You know what I mean? So he's starting to turn that corner. But if he goes back, but also the Niners have a terrible defense. So like, if he plays the Rams in the NFC Championship game and they win because they just came back in the 4th quarter of the last 5 minutes, then I would be like, yeah, I don't know how much I like that. It was the same thing with Purdy when Purdy came back in against the Packers and the Lions. I'm like, awesome that we finally came back against the team, but this is not good playoff football right now. Like we need to be having 4 good quarters. So to answer your question, it would depend on how he looks in this next week, and then obviously in the playoffs.
So, and what I would say is like, I don't know where I would rank him, but I could say like how I would, look at him relative to other quarterbacks. Because like right now, the Bears have the best takeaway defense in all of the NFL. Like I think they're on pace to come pretty close to like the all-time like interception record by a team in a season. Um, and takeaways are one of those like it's a volatile stat. It's a little bit luck based. It's not necessarily like it's not that the team isn't doing something to get all these takeaways, but there's a lot of lucky bounces, lucky whatever turnovers are volatile in that way. And so if you know they make if they make it to the Super Bowl, winning these games, where they catch. I'm trying to think who like if they. I don't know how the playoffs are going to stack up, but if they run into like the Panthers or something, and Bryce Young throws 3 interceptions, they lose a couple fumbles, and the Bears have great field position, and that's the way they win the game. Like I can see it. I feel like if the Bears win the Super Bowl, it'll be like those teams where the offense plays just good enough and the defense is great, and so they only need to score 17, 20 points to win playoff games. But now if they're winning shootouts, if Caleb is leading the offense to 40 plus points in a playoff win, then I'm looking at him more in like the like early Russell Wilson part of his career, where it's like, yes, the defense was great, but he was also awesome, and like they were both sides of the ball were great. Or it could be like when Rex Grossman took the Bears to the Super Bowl last, and it was really the defense that got them there.
Did Caleb Williams comp to early Russell Wilson? That's an interesting comparison there.
I mean, like big improvisers, good arms, and great defenses, great weapons around them. Great, great coach, or at least a great mind. I guess Ben Johnson is just starting out as a head coach, but I mean he's 11-5 this year. It's a pretty good head coaching debut.
Mm-hmm. So what would Caleb Williams have to do to crack your top 10, Hollywood? Basically, like win the
Win
Super Bowl and put up 40
and
points?
win
No, he doesn't
Super
need to
Bowl
win the Super
MVP.
Bowl. He doesn't need to win the Super Bowl. Your analysis was where would I rank him if he got to the Super Bowl? I'm just saying it depends on how he did it. It would be the same answer. It depends on how he looks. I I agree with the take that the quarterback rankings are fluid. A guy could be, you know, like Stafford could have been was primed to fall in the 5 spot after this year, but now has played so poorly at the end of the season that he's probably not winning the MVP. So he's probably not getting the 5 spot, my 5 spot anymore. So it's fluid. It would be how does he look? He had the. I haven't sat down and thought about my rankings, so I don't know if he makes my top 10. I doubt it, and I don't see why he. I don't know if there's short of going all the way to the Super Bowl, winning Super Bowl MVP, and looking dominant. I don't think he cracks my top 10 because I pretty sure I could think of 10 quarterbacks I want before I want Caleb Williams.
Fair, fair. Who do you think's winning the MVP this year?
Probably Drake May now because they only give it to a quarterback. So
curious. Let me see. Let's see about some odds here. I'm curious who's leading it now after the last couple weeks.
As of yesterday, it was Drake was minus 400 and Stafford had become like plus 300 or something like that.
Jeez, so May's running away with it.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure May was a minus 400. That's what I remember seeing on FS1 on First Things First yesterday. I haven't, but I don't remember Stafford. I think I'm right about that swing. That's what it was now.
Let's see. DraftKings has May at minus 295. Stafford is plus 225. And then after that, it's plus 20,000 for anybody else. Dude, Trevor Lawrence is third in odds right now.
Dude, Trevor Lawrence has been dominant the last 4 weeks.
Yeah, the last few weeks has been really good. And then Caleb is fourth. CMC is fifth.
Caleb is on there? Let's fucking go.
Caleb's fourth, and then CMC and Josh Allen are tied at fifth for plus 30,000. And then your boy Sam Darnold is next.
Yeah, as a Seahawks fan, Sam Darnold should not be sniffing that list. Not because he's not a good quarterback, but he's not a MVP caliber.
No, and he hasn't played like it this year. He's had the benefit of the best receiver in football. And granted, you got to get the ball to him, which is still something. But
yeah, dude, not a bad gig for Sam Darnold. Just fucking getting to go from Justin Jefferson to Jackson Smith-Njigba. Like, why not? I'd be an NFL quarterback if I could throw to the best receiver every year.
Yeah, exactly. And that's also something that I think is like, you watch it with like certain quarterbacks, and I feel like it's the ones that are, I don't know if it's always the ones that are like great and phenomenal and elite and all of that, but the best quarterbacks in the league seem to like go to the well with their top receivers. Like Stafford is a like incredible example of it. Like he had Megatron for all those years, and he just fed him the ball as much as he could. And then he does the same thing with the Rams, whether it was Kupp, Nakua, Devontae, like whoever his best receiver on the field is, like he just feeds them the ball. Rodgers was the same way with Devontae Adams, Jordy Nelson. And Rodgers was like that with Garrett Wilson, with the Jets. The Steelers have a weird receiving core, so it's kind of odd over there. But he still like gets the ball to DK quite a bit. But the best quarterbacks seem to like really feed their best their best players because they know it's like as long as I can get it into his hands, he's talented enough to go do something with it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or even if I can put it in his atmosphere, he can bring it in and do something with it.
So who do you got? Miami versus Ohio State tonight.
I don't know. Miami is just that team. They're like that team that just, no matter what sport it is, it just seems like if they can like crack the playoff, they seem to make some solid runs. So I definitely like believe in them, but I don't know. Ohio State's Ohio State. They're kidding. They're pretty darn good. And I think like the expectations are always so much higher when you're Ohio State. It's like you can't like there's so much like if Miami loses, it's like, all right, you know what? It's like sure we had high hopes for the season, but we lost our best player went first overall in the draft this year or this last year. Like we're just kind of happy to be here type thing. Like we're still good. This is great, but like probably I don't know, over like going over the expectations. And like they want to obviously contend in the ACC on a yearly basis and do all that. But Ohio State is like, if you're not a 11 win team and like near the championship every year, like this season is a disappointment.
You forgot we'll beat Michigan also.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. That's another part of it too. God, if I can beat Michigan.
So Ohio State is 7.5 point favorites.
Okay, that sounds about right.
Mm-hmm.
And also, too, I haven't been able to follow college football as closely as I would like to. Today I was watching like I'll probably go back in a little bit and put it on in the background, but ASU's playing in the Tony the Tiger Bowl against Duke right now.
Cody the Tiger.
It was we've on our backup quarterback for the last few weeks ever since Sam Levitt went down. And he's like Jeff Sims. He's like a fifth or sixth year senior. And he's like decent quarterback, but he's really mobile, like super fast, like very good scrambler and runner as a quarterback. And so like he's fun to watch, but when we have to throw the ball, it's not quite as fun to watch him. But this one's been a shootout. They said it was the highest scoring first half in like the history of the bowl game. And it was
That's
like
cool.
it was like 28-24 or something like that going into the half.
No shit.
Yeah, it was like I had it on while I was doing stuff around the
They're
house
scoring
and
on every possession.
dude, literally like I had turned on the game like right as it started and ASU scored on their first possession with like I don't know, there's like 11 minutes in the first quarter left or something like that. I started I don't know putting away dishes, doing something. I couldn't have been away from the TV for more than like 10-15 minutes and I walked back and it was like 14-7. I was like, where did two touchdowns just come from in the last 10 minutes?
Well, after Oregon's big upset against JMU, they're only 2.5 point favorites against Texas Tech.
Oof. And they're very good. Texas Tech is scary. Little Red Raiders.
Over the Red Raiders. That's tomorrow, 10 a.m. I'm trying to contemplate if I'm going to get any action on any of these games, dude.
First, you're going to get action on the game. You're fucking Papa Hat for crying out loud.
We'll throw $1.15
I'll throw a dollar
on it.
fifty at it.
Bro, my gambling accounts actually kind of blew up because I had 3 bets that DraftKings ended up giving me betting credits for because
Oh, interesting.
the leg that lost was because due to injury.
Hmm. Was
Yeah.
it like during the game and they credited you back? That's crazy. I don't think I've ever had
No,
that
so they
happen.
tag you with a early exit eligible. And
Oh,
and it takes about 24 hours for them to process it, but Basically, you have to have hit the parlay with the exception of the one leg that was due to an early exit. So like I
Interesting.
I had a Travion Henderson 50 plus scrimmage yards. He got hurt.
Yeah, you had a
And I
concussion.
hit every other leg. I had another parlay with Travion Henderson in it, same thing. And then the game with Jordan Love when he had his early exit.
Oh yeah,
So
that's
so
funny.
my gambling account actually kind of blew up because of those.
There you go.
But I don't really know shit about college football, so I would just be fucking throwing money into the wind, hoping to catch something, you know?
Yeah, it's tough. It's tough. Freaking I won. I hadn't been touching anything, and then I got like a notification that I'd won like a DraftKings contest. I had done I had at the start of the football season, I did a bunch of like real cheap entry fee like best ball leagues. I don't know if you've ever done those. They're pretty fun. Um,
I've seen pools and leagues and like I've thought about doing them, but I just haven't
they're
pulled the trigger.
they're cool to throw in on like the ones that are like dollar entry, $2 entry, something like that, because there's usually like hundreds, if not thousands, of people in it. And they like break it up into like 10 or 12 team little divisions, like whoever you draft with, and like you play against them throughout the first like I don't know 10 or 12 weeks, and then whoever's top of your little division, they start weeding it down,
Oh,
and then
interesting.
when you make it towards the end, it's it's like you can win a lot of money doing it. But one of my ones, I placed like I think I placed like second in it. In I don't it wasn't good enough to like make whatever next round it was, but I
Uh-huh.
got like second in it, and I got like $15, and I was like, all right,
That's
there's
all you
something to
need,
gamble with.
baby.
And the best ball is kind of cool. It's like a totally different draft strategy, because it's just the idea is like whoever at whatever position on your team, whoever scores the highest is who like is in the starting lineup. Um, and so you don't have to set lineups, you don't have to do any of that. It's just the highest scoring people on your team get inserted into the starting lineup. And so like you want to draft like some guys that are like super consistent high scoring guys, and then you also want to grab some like wild cards where it's like Rashid Shaheed. It's like, one week he might just freaking catch like 270-yard bombs or return a punt for a touchdown or something, and have a random 25-point week where he's going to be your best receiver for the week. Um,
That's my boy Rashid Shaheed, dude.
it is your boy. It's nice they're finally using him a little bit.
Hmm. That's my
But
boy Rashid Shaheed.
no, so I've got $15 sitting in DraftKings. Might have to do something with it. Might have to lose it on something.
Lose it on Ohio State, dude.
Dude, there's no way. I will never bet on Ohio State. I hate them.
Like that, bro. There's no dice. Put it on Miami to cover 7.5. That's doable.
Maybe. But that's like, I don't know. There's college football it's just strange to bet on. Like, I feel like I have to be like really tied in as the season goes along for me to feel good betting about it. Where it's
Yeah.
like, oh no, I've watched the way this team plays. I understand this and this and this about them. I know that like I don't know. And then also too, most of the year, like the thing is all of the really big, like big market, like big audience, big viewership games, it's much harder to like find an edge when betting, because so many people are betting it that Vegas can like really, hone in those lines.
Hmm.
And so when I bet college, I usually bet, non-power four schools. Like I usually bet smaller schools, less people are betting on it. The line might not be quite so accurate. And so you can get a little bit more of an edge on it. But these like really, high, I don't know, like high attention games, these games that get tons of betting action, if you don't bet them within the first like 2 days, like day or two that the line's available, like you lose all the value, and then you're like really, you're just like really hoping that you get it versus where you're like, oh yeah, dude, like I'm sure that Ohio State number, I'm sure it didn't open at 7.5. I'm sure it opened at something else and it's moved a little bit because it always does. When tens of thousands of people are betting on a game, Vegas
Yeah.
is going to move lines.
Yeah. I don't know what it opened at. But 59% of the bets on the spread are on Ohio State. 83% of the money lines are on Ohio State.
Which is kind of what you would expect from a game like that. Kind of curious. I don't know if you guys ever use action sports.
No.
It's like a betting tool is how I would describe it. Um, but I've I forget what the like pro membership costs. I've paid for it for the last few years, like ever since Arizona legalized gambling and we started really doing it. Um, but they'll show you like all of the breakdowns. They give you these like signals. They have all these systems where it's like when all these things line up, this, if you bet this way, there's like a 60% hit rate or something like that. And so lots of times it's just some of them are like, cold weather unders, or like it's these, or like, road dog coming off big win or something like that. But they have all of these like little systems that people make.
Huh.
Okay, so this one has actually come down. So the Miami Ohio State game, it opened at 9.5, and it's come down to 7.5, which means a lot of people were betting on Miami, and so they had to move the line closer to Ohio State
Interesting.
because 9.5 is a big number for a college playoff game, especially like when it's not a Power Four school versus a non-Power Four school. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's a pretty big line. Looks like a lot of the experts are lining up on Miami on the spread, but a lot of them probably bet it early. The
Yeah, 9.5 is a bit different than 7.5.
Yeah, it's also kind of cool because they'll show you like, do you know the do you know the idea? I don't know what exactly to call it, but they call it like call it steam. Um, and it's when like a bunch of like sharp betters will bet one side of the line really heavily to get it to move so that they can get the other line on the other side.
What the fuck?
Um, so like say a team is sitting at like, I
That's
don't know,
just what they did
minus,
with GameStop, dude.
yeah. So it's like say a team is, the line is -2.5 or something like that. And what they really want to bet is the other side, but they want to get that number to like 3 or 3.5 before they bet it. And so when that line comes out, they'll all kind of hammer the other side so that they move the line. And then once that line moves, they'll like hammer the shit out of that +3.5. Um,
Where do you get in these groups, dude? Reddit?
dude, I don't know. Those are like they're. It's also weird because there's certain sports books that are more um, like geared towards the like sharp betters, and
Uh-huh.
and they move their lines a lot more like fluidly, where it's like DraftKings, Caesars, any of these other sports books, like what they'll usually end up doing is they'll like pause a line. Like they'll like pull the line off the book when something weird is happening and then put it back up with whatever their new line is. Versus these like sharp sites, it'll move as people keep betting it, and then only after it reaches a point where they're like, okay, wait, everybody is hammering this. Now it's moving. And then, like, the fluidity of it, it'll move back. Um,
Interesting.
and so, like, the sharp books are the ones where, like, you can get some of those lines, but you have to get them super early. Like the story or like analogy that they use a lot of times, like Black Friday, where it's like, yeah, if you get there, right when they open, and you're ready for it, you get these great deals. But as you get there later and later, the deals become not so good.
Well, the
Um,
deals get bought.
exactly. And so betting is very much the same way, where it's like you've got to get to the line early to get the most value out of it. So like if you're firing in your like football bet Sunday morning, you're getting the worst value on every single game.
Sign me up for shitty value, bro. That's
Which
me
yeah,
every
yeah, and
Sunday.
it's like yeah, that's and lots of times like you'll still be fine, but I've definitely had games where it's like I got the line early at 6.5 or something, and by game day it was 7.5, and they won by a touchdown.
Hmm.
And so it's like even that 1 point of movement, I would have lost that bet if I bet it on Sunday versus Tuesday.
That's crazy, dude. That's crazy. Speaking of odds, Hollywood, are you following the Hall of Fame voting for baseball right now?
No, I am not. I saw a couple people's thing, but I did not like look that deeply into it.
You know what my boy Felix is at?
Higher than he should be because he shouldn't get in, but that's besides the point.
What the fuck, dude? What the
I mean, you
fuck?
want to turn it to this? We can turn it to this. Felix Hernandez is not a Hall of Famer. I've said it to your face. I'll say it again. He is not a Hall of Famer.
You don't even believe yourself right now.
I do believe myself. I'm also the guy who doesn't think two people from my team that are gonna get in shouldn't get in.
So what percentage do you need again?
75.
Well, my boy Felix is at 57.8.
That's
How
of the public ballots. So that's 25% of the public ballots. So
how I was gonna say, how many years has Felix been on the ballot now?
This
this
is
is
his
like
second.
his third or
This
second.
is his second.
And they get 10. If
As long as they get
if
5%.
as long as they get enough votes to stay on it.
My boy HP is about to fall off the list. That's unfortunate, but he's not a Hall of Famer.
HP.
To Hunter
Hunter Pence.
Pence.
Yeah.
Oh, gotcha,
Yeah,
gotcha.
not a Hall of Famer. He's a great player. He's a Hall of Do you guys know about I don't know if they've extended it to other sports yet. There's a guy that does it with football on Instagram. It's that Hall of Good.
Yeah.
Or the
Mhm.
and they put out, I don't know, he does something probably every week of some player that's like, all right, obviously this guy's not a Hall of Famer, but is he good enough? Like, was he that good? Was he a Hall of Good type player? And they're always funny because some of them will come up and like people are like, I don't know if they just like don't remember the player very well or what it was, but like I remember it's like Philip Lindsay came up on it the other day and he did not make it in and a bunch of people were really pissed.
Lindsey wasn't good. He wasn't even Hall of Good.
Dude, he has the most carries in NFL history without a fumble.
So, oh my, that's like Papa Hats. He has a perfect game, immaculate inning, and whatever the fuck the other stupid other one he said was he deserves to get in the Hall of Fame. That's that same argument.
Bro, talking shit about a perfect game is a
I'm
wild
not
fucking
talking shit
take.
about a perfect game. I'm saying the take that a perfect game gets you in the Hall of Fame is a bad take. That's what I said.
I've never said
Never
those
once
things.
said a perfect game wasn't a phenomenal thing. It's
All
the
I
second
said
greatest thing you could accomplish
is
in the game of baseball.
all I said is Felix is the only pitcher with an immaculate inning, a four strikeout inning, and a perfect game.
Okay, and my counter is that doesn't mean he's a Hall of Famer.
Those things alone do not mean that he's a Hall of Fame.
Yes.
Why?
There's a
So,
lot
so,
of
so real quick, speaking of this, since you brought up Hall of Fame, this is the weird thing between sports because obviously the NFL released its like final 15 names, and then they got to go down to 5 because of that. One name on the thing is Eli, and people like first things first, they were talking about is Eli a Hall of Famer, and most people were saying no.
Really?
because the only thing Eli did essentially was in 2 playoff runs, one undefeated, and obviously beat the Patriots, and arguably beat the great. I will also, not arguably for me, beat the greatest team I ever saw, which was those undefeated Patriot team.
Yeah.
And they're saying he's not going to get in because he's a 500 regular season player, win loss, all that stuff. But in my head, I'm like, and going back to the Hall of Fame argument, Madison Bumgarner was never the best left-handed pitcher in baseball. He's never the best pitcher in baseball. I don't think had too many top 3 Cy Young years or any of that stuff. He's going to get it. He's going to get in based off of the 2014 playoff World Series run, and that's only realistically in that run he was great in the wild card round and the World Series, and that's you could even say that in 12 and even kind of 10. So it's like Eli's not going to get in because of X, but Bumgarner gets in. He's like they're like, oh, the postseason's not enough. The postseason's not enough. Baseball is literally going to induct Madison Bumgarner based just off of postseason. So it's kind of weird that the writers for football or whoever the voters are for football are not the same as the voters for baseball. You know what I mean? The writers for baseball, because we're seeing contradicting things.
Yeah. So Mad Bum had 2. Twice he finished 4th in Cy Young voting. That was 2014 and 16.
And 14 was like his best year. And 16 he had a good, strong year.
I will say it's kind of cool. He's got 2 silver sluggers, which is kind of sweet. But he was 6th in 2015, 9th in 2013, and 11th in 2011. And that 2016 season, he was 16th in MVP voting.
Right.
But yeah, never even granted it's nitpicking, but never a top 3 finish in Cy Young voting. And he only had really a 3-year stretch where he was even any bit likely to win it.
I don't even think he was likely to win it those 3 years, to be honest with you. I don't.
But it was the
that was still
closest
prime.
He ever
that
got.
was still prime Crenshaw.
Oh my. Yeah, there were a lot of great pitchers in that time.
Well, I'm just going also lefties, because one of the other arguments is
Kershaw was better.
He was never better than Kershaw. Now maybe postseason he was better than Kershaw, but regular season, no.
Baseball, I get it. Baseball is seemingly more picky with their Hall of Fame voting, but they also do it. They also seem to do it differently than the other sports.
There's a lot of very average first-time ballots this year in baseball. This is Ryan.
Well,
Bonds
you finally got
year.
Bonds and Clemens off the thing, so that freed up. They got 50 some odd percentage last year, both, if I recall correctly. So that that's a ton of extra people. Now that Bonds and Clemens are off, that frees up a lot of people. A lot of votes for other people.
This is Man Ram's last year of eligibility.
Really? Think he gets in?
He's at 45.9% right now. So it's not looking good. Not looking good.
It's not looking good for anybody except for Beltran and Andrew Jones.
Yeah.
Dude, and Beltran's one where, I don't know, dude, if you're going to freaking say that none of these other guys get in for cheating and you're going to still vote Beltran in and act like this character clause is this big thing that keeps these guys out of the hall and still put Beltran in is crazy to me.
What's your beef with Beltran, dude?
Dude, he was freaking all over the freaking Astros scandal. The banging trash cans, the freaking pitch tipping, all that shit. Beltran was all over that.
Yeah, he lost out on the Mets job because of it.
Yeah. Yeah, dude, he literally he won a World Series cheating.
They weren't cheating. They were playing outside of the rules. Huge difference.
They were cheating, dude. There's literally rules that say you can't use technology to do that shit that they were doing.
They just wanted
And
it more than the other team, dude.
they literally had a camera set up in center field
No, no,
to
no, 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 no. They did not do that. They
yes
used a
they did.
live. No, no, no. They used a live feed of the game. They sliced into the live feed. That's what they did. They used a
Ah,
regular camera. They just sliced into the live feed. That's what they did. Huge difference.
huge difference.
Hey, I'm
Yeah,
just saying they didn't set up a camera, or at least from my understanding, they didn't set up a camera. You know
well,
random. You know a lot of random weird things better than I do sometimes, but so you could be right. But from my understanding, they just used a regular
even
camera because that's
even
why they
if
were able to do it on the road. Because on the road, they would have said, they wouldn't have, Team X wouldn't have let them set up a camera,
yeah,
so they were just using the center field camera, but they sliced into the live feed, so they saw the pitch coming
yeah,
when it
but
was coming.
they couldn't do it on the road. They could only do it at
No,
home.
they did it on the road as well because I guess it was harder for them to do it because they had to like break property there. Yeah, so you're right. They probably didn't do it on the road as much.
Yeah, they didn't. That's why like that whole playoff run, it was like the games in Houston, they were scoring like 8, 9, 10 runs a game, and the games in New York, they were scoring 3 or 4 runs a game. Um, they were, and even then, it's like, all right, you're splicing in the live feed. Nobody else, like, there's such a like organizational level of cooperation to that, where it's like nobody else on the fucking planet can watch the game without a 10-second delay, and they
No,
can get the live field.
the Yankees did the exact same thing the Astros did that they're so mad about, right? The Yankees did it and got caught and got punished, but nobody seems to remember it.
See, I
They
didn't know that because I know Alex
so
Cora did it with the
so it was the
Red
Yankees and
Sox
the Red
too.
Sox. It was the Yankees and the Red Sox. They had Apple Watches and they were wearing Apple Watches in the thing, and the Apple Watches were getting the live feed, so they were able to yell out fastball, and they were doing it from the dugout. And
Damn.
then they banned, so MLB had to come out and ban, and there was a game where literally it was Yankees versus Red Sox, and I think every pitch they were just yelling out the pitch to the hitter, and literally Major League Baseball instantly came out and was like, all right, no more Apple Watches allowed
Interesting.
in the dugout. So the Yankees did the exact same thing they're mad about them do, and I think that was pretty sure that was previous to the Astro scandal.
Interesting. Speaking of banning stuff, you think the tush push is going to get
Oh,
nixed
the
this
tiff
year?
push is absolutely going to get banned.
Yeah.
Dude, that is a legal play. I don't give a shit. Like, who?
Okay,
Like, just
it could be legal. The Eagles false start every single time they do it.
No, they've been better about it lately, but you are absolutely the thing about the false starts is there was one that was pretty blatant that I saw live, and I was like, how the hell wasn't that called? But some of the other ones are like you have to slow it down so much to see it. Then again, that crazy ass play on the sideline with Nakua where it looked like he caught it, and then like there's that one angle you could see the guy do it. Everybody's saying the refs called it one, I don't know who, but somebody was seeming to imply that the refs only called it incomplete because they were just like, there's no way Puka caught that. But like on every angle but one angle, he clearly caught it. Or I don't want to say caught it because he didn't catch it, but like, you know what I mean? So it's one of those weird things like did he like they had to slow it down so much to see that is it really offsides? You know,
Yes.
that's what somebody was making an argument. If it was like they're like if this wasn't Monday Night Football, that's probably a catch because we don't have that camera angle that showed it not
Yeah.
happening. And I
Yeah.
was like, just because they don't have the camera angle doesn't mean it wasn't a catch. It was a catch. It just means we didn't have the angle to do. And again, it's going to go back to the other thing, which is if we live in an age with all this technology, why are we not using all this technology to make sure we're getting plays right? Otherwise, just let the refs call whatever they want, and all the fans have to just deal with whatever the refs called, you know?
Yeah, because at the end of the day, we don't want like these over officiated games. Like you want it to like there has to be some level of trust that the refs are making the right calls on the field, and
Absolutely.
then that's where New York steps in and says, "Oh, hold on, wait a second, let's look at this real fast." because like you were saying with the like those false starts that are, like, microseconds. Like it's just like it's if you're watching it at full speed, you're never going to catch it. You have to slow it down a ton to catch it. Like I think about being a Packer fan for the last handful of years. David Bakhtiari looked like he false started on almost like every single snap, and it's because when he was posted up there at the left tackle, his eyes are on the ball versus most of the O lines everywhere else, they're going on the snap count. And so they're waiting to hear it, respond to it, all of that. Versus Bakhtiari would sit there, left end of the line, and his eyes are on the ball. And the moment the ball moves, he moves. So he's not even like obviously he knows the snap count, all of that, but like he has this just extra, quarter step, half step back on whoever's coming at him, and he was one of the best tackles in football for his whole career because of it.
Yeah, and tackles. I mean, tackles are a position. If they want to call a false start on a tackle, they could probably get away with, like they could call holding every play on the offensive line, and they could call false start on the tackles every play because the tackles always jump early, but they give them the benefit of the doubt because of it was kind of accepted, so to speak. But you could call that on every play. Like I don't know how many times I'm watching football and I'm like, the tackle left early, they didn't call it. Tackle left early, they didn't call it. Because you could see him moving a split second before the ball, but they let it go. Now, that is naked eye that I could see, so that's a little different. But, like, there was one tush-push fumble where this was before all the stuff happened, and it was on I think it was around the horn or somebody that was showing the replay, and I didn't even notice it live, or they didn't even mention it live. But then the person was talking about it was like, watch this angle, and yet you see the guards go first, or it was even one of those, like, the both guards jump. And they're like, how is that not called? I saw it live. I was like, I want to be like, bro, I watched that game too. I didn't see that live. It's like you're slowing it down to millimeters and then complaining that the refs don't see it.
Yeah, no, and they've got to watch for all kinds of stuff on every down and every play. But like, are the robot umps happening in baseball? Is that coming?
I think they're doing it in spring training again this year, and then no. I thought it is coming because everybody keeps talking about how Patrick Beverley's value to the Giants is going to go down the hill because pitch framing isn't going to matter anymore.
Oh yeah,
but I think it's supposed to happen this year.
Which I'm not entirely opposed to, I will say. But also, I don't know, man. I love the human element of sports. I don't need everything to be exactly the perfect right call at all times, you know?
Yeah, I know what you mean. I go both ways on that. I want the right call, but don't want I don't want the game to get bogged down too much. But like I'm fine with it because I think it's not going to slow it down. I think it's going to be a pitch gets thrown. I think what they're doing is just the AVS system, which is just a challenge. Like they're not.
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think. I think that's all they're doing.
And so far, watching the way that it's been like tested in the minors and everything, like the way that they want to do it, it doesn't seem to really slow down the game more. It definitely doesn't slow it down any more than somebody just like stepping out of the box every freaking 2 pitches or something.
Yeah. So so they approved the automated ball strike system or robot umpires for 2026, implementing it through a challenge system where players, pitchers, catchers, and batters get 2 challenges per game to dispute ball strikes. See, I don't know. See, that doesn't seem fair though. Like, I think pitchers and catchers should get more because they're on the field all the time. So like, you know what I mean? Like a pitcher could only challenge 2 pitch. Like what if you go all 9 innings? You know what I mean? You only get 2 challenges. Like that don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And the catcher's in the game the whole thing. So like the catcher needs to be like, hey, you need to challenge. Like always telling the pitcher to challenge, especially once the pitchers, relief pitchers. Yeah, 2 is fine, but a starter should get more.
And is that like each player gets that amount of challenges, or is that like how many they have for the team?
That's what this says. I would assume it's I would assume it's every batter gets 2, and then the catcher and the pitcher get 2 total as well. So I think it's everybody gets 2 is what they're looking at. But I just don't think
Okay.
that's. I don't think that's fair. Like I think like I said, I think pitchers and catchers need to get. Like I think a catcher should get 9, 1 per inning, and then every extra inning they, every time there's an inning they get to add 1, and maybe they could roll over. So like you get 1 per inning, you get 1 for the first inning. If you don't use it, you could use 2 in the second inning, and so on. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah, it's like
10,
you get 9 for the first 9 innings,
yeah,
and then in extra, I would say like it shouldn't roll over to extras. Like if you play extra innings, now you get 1 per inning or whatever it is until the game is over. It's the same way like they don't roll over timeouts in other sports that way.
yeah. I mean,
Like
yeah, that's fine with me too. Like 1 per inning and the extras is fine, or whatever. That's fine with me. But pitcher, same thing with pitchers. Or at
they
least the
should get more.
starter. The
Yeah.
starter should get probably at least 7, give or take, or maybe the same system. They get
Fun.
1 per inning, but
Yeah.
they could roll them over, and then for relievers, yeah, 2 for relievers, more than fine.
Yeah.
Um,
Because if you think about it, like just numbers wise, it's like starting pitcher is going to go out there and throw conservatively, 80 pitches. And if they
yeah,
only get to challenge 2 of those versus the batter that if he's got some real long at bats and the offense is going, maybe he sees 30 pitches in a game and he gets to challenge 2 of those. But the guy that throws 2 or 3 times as many pitches as that gets to challenge the same amount.
yeah.
All right, quick question. Is
No,
Andrew
no. Real quick before you go to the question. For the record, this is what the Astros scored in the 2017 playoffs ALCS against the Yankees. Game 1, 2 runs. Game 2, 2 runs. Game 3, 1 run. Game 4, 4 runs. Game 5, they were shut out. Game 6, they scored 7, and Game 7, they scored 4. So
Oh,
they never
interesting.
scored 9 runs in a game.
It might have
And
check the World Series. It might have been more egregious in the World Series, but I
World
feel
World Se-
like there was definitely like a fairly egregious home road split somewhere along that playoff run.
So they won one game 13-12. That was game 5. But so they lost
both
game
teams
1
were
3.
banging trash cans in that one?
Yeah. Game 1 they lost 3-1. Game 2 they won 7-6. Game 3 they won 5-3. Game 4 they lost 6-2. Game 5 they won 13-12. Game 6 they lost 3-1. Game 7 they won 5-1.
Okay. Okay. I wonder what the season long home road splits were.
Maybe that's more what you're talking about. Yeah.
Maybe, because obviously it's bigger sample size. But I know it was like fairly egregious.
All right. What's your question? My bad.
Andrew versus Beltran.
Is Andrew Jones the worst Hall of Famer, potential Hall of Famer ever to get in?
Yes, because he is only getting in based off of 2 things: Gold Gloves and his WAR. That is it. That is his entire claim to get into the Hall of Fame.
He's one of the greatest defensive fucking center fielders of all time.
Okay,
I'm not arguing against that premise. I'm just saying that's his
He
entire
has
claim.
10 Gold Gloves. Dude.
Again, I am not arguing
like,
against it. I am
it's not
just
like
saying
he has
that
like 4.
Okay, so Andrew Jones currently has 82%
yes.
of the votes, right? We have a long way to go. Only 25% of the ballots are in, but right now he's got the second most. Torrey Hunter has here he is. Torrey Hunter, as of right now, isn't even going to reach the 5% threshold. Now, I bet he will reach the 5% threshold. He'll probably be on the ballot again next year, but Torrey Hunter is not looking like he's going to be a Hall of Famer based on this.
Or should he?
But let's look at Andrew Jones versus Torrey Hunter.
Torrey Hunter's an interesting one because I only got to catch him like later in his career, and he was still like he was solid. I definitely had him on a fantasy baseball team or 2 in high school, but like I don't know, to me he was never like awesome, but he was just this like real like solid savvy vet.
He was an all-star as many times as Andrew Jones. He has one less gold glove than Andrew Jones. He has an extra silver slugger, one more than Andrew Jones. Played more games, logged almost 500 more hits.
But is that an apples to apples comparison of the two? If that makes sense, like
Not
It's
really.
their
They're kind of
career.
they're
It's their
no, no, no.
different.
career
I
versus
understand
career.
that, but like if you were to
Yeah.
put, let's just say whoever you use either of these players and do somebody like who's on this list that like Gio Gonzalez didn't play as long as either of these guys. You know what I mean? Alex Gordon. Matt Kemp. Well,
Yeah.
Matt Kemp played for a while. Nick Markakis didn't play as long as either. Like I'm saying, as the years are they comparable? Like they both played 15 years. They both played 12 years, or like you know what I mean? Like how big is the
Did
sample?
did Markakis reach 3,000 hits? I
No,
know
he
he
didn't.
was like,
No, he did not.
okay. I know he was
Based on
like
games played, Torrey Hunter basically played one more season than Andrew Jones.
So that's comparable numbers. You know what I mean? Like
That's what I'm saying. Is Andrew Jones that much better of a player than Torrey Hunter?
according to the WAR number by itself, he's a 12 WAR better, which is as we've learned with the WAR is like multiple seasons of 5+ WAR, which is all that you're really looking for. It looks like at times better than Torrey Hunter.
I will say 90 was that 91 more home runs, 81 more home runs is not nothing.
Yeah. 81 home runs is a big deal. That's multiple seasons of home runs. So that take of Andrew Jones was a better power hitter and like was therefore more valuable, I would accept that. With that said, Torrey Hunter still had like 100 more RBIs. That's
Yeah.
also not nothing. He also had 40 some more stolen bases. I like
But
Andrew Jones better.
Andrew Jones wasn't really a speed guy or a stolen base guy. Well, I guess they
Was
made.
was
In his
Andrew
earlier
Jones
career, he
ever
was.
I forget, was Andrew Jones a PED guy? Was he someone ever suspected of that?
I mean, he played in the era, so probably was suspected, but he
Because he
also
had some
kind of fell
pretty
off a
monster
cliff a little bit
seasons.
a few times. Remember, like there was that year with when they played the Yankees in the World Series where he hit those 2 home runs in like the first two games, and everybody thought he was going to be the second coming, and then he really never achieved that again.
Yeah.
So he wasn't really, to me, he was never really an offensive player.
Earlier in
He,
his career, he was more of a speedster with some stolen bases and had pop, but he just never quite lived up to his full potential.
And even
Now,
that, it's saying something that even not living up to his full potential, he's looking like the only lock for the Hall of Fame this year.
well, him and
well,
Carlos Beltran.
Oh, and
Beltran.
Beltron.
Carlos Beltran,
And Beltron, like his obvious, like it's like Barry Bonds. Like you look at his baseball freaking reference page, and you're like, oh yeah, of course.
yeah.
But there's these other clauses to the Hall of Fame voting that keep some of these guys out. So, I mean,
Now,
Manny's the same thing. You look at Manny's baseball reference page, and you're like, oh, this is one of the best baseball players ever. Why is he not in the Hall of Fame?
compared to Ryan Braun, like Ryan Braun shouldn't even be in the Like if Andrew Jones is the worst Hall of Famer who's going to get in, then Ryan Braun should not even be in the conversation.
You're
And
talking
don't get
about
me wrong.
more All Stars, more MVP, more Silver Sluggers, more hits, more.
I will
That
say
was that
Ryan
stolen bases,
Ryan
more batting at better batting average, better
Braun
OPH. Like this
was
isn't as bad of an argument as you think it is.
He has like three less seasons.
Ryan Braun was pretty darn good. Yeah. I mean, he used to freaking destroy the Diamondbacks, dude. I hated facing Ryan Braun.
But I mean, Ryan Braun's if Ryan Braun, he's never going to get in because he's got the positive steroid test.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah, he's got that too.
I wanted to look
What
up
about
one more.
look at compare Beltron to Manny? I'm just curious.
That's a good comparison.
And plus, you don't want Felix to get in, so because then next year the three of us are all going to go, when Posey gets it.
Yeah, we need one more year for Felix.
If that happened, I'd be okay with that. So this is actually closer than I thought it was going to be. And according to War, Carlos Beltran was the better player.
By
Rotron was way better
like point
defensively.
0.7.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 3 Gold Gloves, man. How was I guess Manny's just offensive numbers are just so ridiculous that makes sense. I was like, how is their War that close? And then forget War. To me, War is a misleading stat.
Manny Ramirez has more green checks on his side.
He does have more green.
You know who else has more green? Felix Hernandez.
Again, this is a 15-year career versus a 10-year career, you son of a bitch. And Tim Lincecum shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame either. So you actually helped my argument by showing me that Felix has better numbers than Tim, because Tim shouldn't be in, and if Tim is not in, Felix should not be in.
King Felix for life, bro. King Felix for life.
Yeah, dude. I think Felix is definitely one of the best pitchers that I've ever watched in my lifetime. I feel like he belongs in the Hall.
I'm not arguing against that premise. Cole Hamels, I could say, was one of the best pitchers I've ever seen in my lifetime. Is he going to get in the Hall of Fame? No, but he had a 5-year stretch where he was absolutely dominant for the Phillies.
Jamie, pull up Cole Hamels.
We're doing it. We're looking at Felix versus Cole.
That's not a good argument.
You just used it.
You just used it.
No, I just said Cole Hamels had a 5-year dominant stretch. That doesn't mean he doesn't belong.
That's a lot of green. That's a lot of green for Cole Hamels. That might be a better argument than you thought, Hollywood.
Yeah, Cole Hamels is looking pretty elite right here. I'm not gonna lie.
He
just doesn't have the like single season titles.
What year is Cole Hamels in? This is his first year on the ballot, so he'll probably get in on his second year.
How's he tracking? 31%.
Yep. That's more than
more
Felix
innings
on Felix's first year.
So 10 more WAR, basically 10 more WAR, more games, more obviously starts, the same freaking thing.
Less innings.
Way less innings. Like 100 less innings. No, not like 50-ish less innings. No, 30 less innings. I can't math. Better win-loss record. Better ERA to Felix, but not by much. ERA plus. I don't really know that stat that well, but that goes to Cole. More strikeouts, more K percentage, less walks per 9 innings, a title. All right, he's got him on All-Stars, got him on the Cy Young ERA title, World Series MVP, LCS MVP.
Which I think if Felix was on a team that won a championship,
you can't say that because you don't know, because in 2010 they give it to Renteria instead of giving it to Brian Wilson or Timmy, who deserved it way more in my opinion.
Does a closing pitcher ever won a World Series MVP?
Yeah, I think Rivera, Mariano Rivera won one.
Okay, the only unanimous member of the Hall of Fame.
Again, you're the one who asked the question that I answered, sir.
Fair. But I was just saying, I was like, dude, there's no way Brian Wilson was going to get a World Series MVP.
I'm just saying he closed out every single one of those games. He was more deserving than Edgar Renteria. That is the take. It's the same. Fair. It's the same thing. If the NFL's ever going to let a kicker in, they need to let it out of Vinatieri.
Yeah, dude.
I'm not saying Vinatieri should get into the Hall of Fame. I'm just saying if they're going to let a kicker in, they better start with Vinatieri, and then it's any other kicker they want.
Vinatieri should have 4 Super Bowl MVPs.
Yes. You know, it's funny. He got me so riled up. I was typing out something just to look it up, and I don't remember what I was typing up. So it was whatever we were just talking. I was typing something, and I got so worked up.
Wait, dude, are kickers not in the Hall?
So all the kickers are in the Hall are from older times where they were like Ditka was technically a kicker, I believe. So he was a kicker and a tight, and he's like a tight end. So all of the kickers that are in are okay. I think maybe Gary Anderson got in. Did Gary Anderson
Or
get in?
Morton? You'd say Morton Anderson?
No, I'm talking about Gary Anderson. I know the difference between Gary Anderson
Okay,
and Morton Anderson.
just check because I don't know who Gary Anderson is, but I
Gary
know
Anderson is the kicker who Anna Vinatieri broke the record for most points.
that was Morton Anderson. Morton Anderson played in like 4 decades, and he was the all-time leading scorer in NFL history until Vinatieri passed him.
Morton Anderson is in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. Yeah, it was like he was the all-time leading scorer for a very long time.
Okay. All right. So Gary Anderson is third on the list.
Okay.
So it's Vinatieri, Morton Anderson, and then Morton Anderson has a check by his name. I'm assuming that means Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
Or a plus by his name. I don't know what that means.
Yeah, he was pretty darn good.
And okay, so I'm gonna go out on a limb and say Morton Anderson passed Gary Anderson because Gary Anderson retired in 2004. Then Morton Anderson retired in 2007. So I'm guessing he passed, and he had 110 points on him. So
didn't Morton start in like 88, 89, somewhere around there?
They both started in 1982, and Anderson retired in 2004, and Morton Anderson retired in 2007.
82 to 07 is insane.
Yeah. I mean, he was just a pure kicker, so like that's
Who was the guy? Matt Stover. He was like 43, 44 when he retired.
Matt Stover played from 1991 to 2009.
Yeah, there you go.
They have a whole separate Hall of Fame just for kicking. They have an American Football Kicking Hall of Fame.
That's probably why, because kickers weren't getting in, so they made their own one, probably.
Damn, dude.
Because there's some punters that should be in there too, dude.
There's segregation.
If Ray Guy and Shane Leckler aren't in the freaking Hall of Fame, then I don't need to see it.
Shane Leckler, what a legend.
Dude, freaking the Raiders, when they just knew what their team was going to be like, and they took a kicker and a punter in the first round within a few years of each other.
All right, gentlemen, let's land this plane. What are your New Year's resolutions? Live on the pod. Let it rip. Let the whole world know.
What do you mean, let the whole world know? We haven't even posted any of these things yet.
That should be your New Year's resolution, Hollywood.
I still need the graphic that you promised me for the last 10 or 12 weeks.
What do you need?
The graphic. The logo.
I sent it to you, motherfucker.
I wasn't paying attention. You should know by now I don't look at any emails you send me.
Okay,
Felix Hernandez. My New Year's resolution is to start a mobile campaign that Felix Hernandez never gets in the Hall of Fame.
He's going to be on the street protesting.
With the biggest sign.
He's going to have a bull.
Felix Hernandez Hall of Fame and just a giant red cross through it. I'm just going to walk around. I'm just going to
print out the stat head comparison and stand right next to you.
You can do that. It'll be good to hang out with you the whole time. Well, when you're standing in front of Seiko Park, me with an anti-sign and you with a pro sign.
Hollywood's going to go on a college campus tour, setting up a "Prove Me Wrong" sign. Felix Hernandez is not a Hall of Famer. Prove me wrong.
Prove me wrong.
Change my mind.
And I'm going to post up right next to him and say Felix should be a Hall of Famer, and I'm just going to print out the stat head comparison with Tim Lincecum while wearing a Let Timmy Smoke shirt.
Again, using Tim Lincecum is not an argument of whether he should or shouldn't be in the Hall of Fame, sir. Just again, I'm going to make a comment. Using a guy who isn't in the Hall of Fame as a reason and a guy should get in the Hall of Fame does not help your case. Just saying. Like, you should compare him to Bumgarner, who we've said ultimately will get in, and be like, oh, if Bumgarner gets in, how come Felix doesn't get in? And I'll be like, that's a real argument.
I need to find the worst Hall of Fame pitcher.
Oh, dude, if you go back, there's some real shoddy Hall of Famers.
You got to find somebody who's an era comparison to him. Because Like, yeah, is there going to be crappy pitchers from? I don't want to say crappy pitchers because if they made the Hall of Fame, obviously they did it for a reason. But is there going to be pitchers from, even the 1980s that I'd be like, yeah, that guy's not a Hall of Famer. You know what I mean?
And every sport has that, dude. If you put
Yeah.
Bob Cousy or George Mikan on an NBA team now, they're not cracking the freaking lineup. Like,
don't you disrespect Bob Cousy like that,
dude,
right? You don't know that.
Bob Cousy was not. He was the first great point guard, but he's not anything like any of these guys now, dude. He would get dog walked, dude.
So the thing is are you taking Bob Cousy? Like it's the same analogy about can the best WNBA player play in the NBA? And everybody goes, and people will say yes, but the NBA players will be like, no, because they're not used to the game. We're going to be like they're like.
It has nothing to do with being used to the game. Women's sports and men's sports do not translate, dude. Serena Williams and Venus Williams played a doubles against guys that were ranked outside the top 200 in men's tennis, and they got like swept.
No.
The U.S. women's soccer team played a U16 boys team and lost like 7-0.
Yes.
Like,
I understand what you're saying.
There's no comparison.
Again, the point I was trying to make was to say what the NBA player was saying. I think it was like Steven Jackson and Matt Barnes. They were saying, have them start in like high school or junior high school and play against the boys. So by the time they get to college and the pros, they're used to the physicality against the boys. But because you're right, the women's game versus the men's game isn't an apples to apples comparison. So that was the point I was going to try to make, which is they're saying do that. And that's what I'm trying to say. So if you take Bob Cousy, and if you take Bob Cousy from what do you play in the 1960s? Yeah, 1960s basketball does not translate well. There's even talk that like guys like Wilt wouldn't be the same player. Bill Russell wouldn't be the same player. Now, would they still dominate? I would absolutely say so. But would it be a different type of dominance than they did back then? That's what I would say. So if you take Cousy and he grows up in this age, maybe he can play. You're taking Cousy from there and going, he wouldn't translate. Well, yeah, I would agree with that. But we don't know.
Yeah.
We don't know because we're not seeing Kurt Cousy play.
Fair. That's the argument. But I'm saying it is part of like their style as a player, like the way that Wilt and Russell played, like any era of basketball, they would have been, top talents.
I agree, but they'd be playing a different type of basketball than they played there. So maybe Wilt is a great example. Wilt is not even, some people don't even have him in the top 5 because they played the argument of, he only, he was a foot and a half taller than everybody he played, yada, 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 all of that stuff. And that's a fine argument to keep him out of your top 5. I'm not saying that.
Yeah, and I don't think he's top 5. He's definitely top 10.
But I'm saying Wilt is an all-time great that people had at top 5, but now because of the newer talent, he's dropped down. But here's the thing: him versus Jokic, that's a fucking sick-ass matchup that I would want to see every day of the week.
Absolutely.
But like when he would be playing against a guy like Shaq and a guy like Jokic and a guy like Hakeem, it's going to be a different game. Now, could he still dominate all those guys? I'm not going to say no because I just don't know. But I'm just saying it's a different game because, like that fucking, I forgot what they call it, but that little like Hakeem shuffle he used to hit in that fadeaway jumper.
The dream shake, dude.
The dream shake, that was the word I was looking for, you know what I mean? But so the game is just different. So it's not, I hate the argument of, that guy played here, he couldn't play there. I hate the argument LeBron couldn't play in the 80s. You don't know that. You're looking at LeBron now and going there. If he played in the 80s, he would hopefully be a tougher player than he is now.
If LeBron played in a league where the center never had to leave the paint and double teams were illegal, he would be unquestioned the greatest basketball player of all time.
There you go.
And also too, it's like if you took someone like Larry, like what we're seeing with Nikola Jokic right now is like if Larry Bird was playing in the NFL in the NBA right now.
I could agree with that.
I think that's like as great as Jokic is, and like that we like haven't really seen a player quite like him. I think Larry Bird is really like the closest comp to Nikola Jokic. Like just in the way they play, their style, like everything. And if you put someone like Larry Bird in today's spacing with the 3-point line being so coveted and so important, Like there's a lot of guys from 80s, 90s. I mean, even some of your boys, like Chris Mullen, Mitch Richmond, like some of those guys with the spacing and the focus on 3-point shooting in the league now, like those guys would be in a
Mullen to me
complete another
is
echelon.
Chris Mullen to me is arguably one of the most underrated players in the league
Yeah,
because he played in the Jordan era and everybody was just fixated on Jordan, which and rightfully so. But like there was a window where he was clearly the second best player in the league, and like nobody ever talked to him about that way.
yeah,
Maybe not second best, but probably top 5 for sure.
pretty damn good.
Yeah.
All right, New Year's resolutions. I will hit every sports bet this year.
Let's go.
All right, so you're going to make one bet, and then you're going to make a bet on the blatantly obvious thing, and
Yeah,
then
dude.
never bet again the rest of the year.
We're only betting minus 10,000s this year.
Hey, you know what? There's nothing wrong with those. Like I'm always like every so like when we were just talking about MVP odds, like throw $1 on the Caleb at like 30 or whatever you said was 30,000. Like throw $1 on that. If they hit, I get 30 G, right?
Yeah, exactly. Those are the lottery tickets. That's what I'm used to betting because usually it's like you just throw a couple bucks here or there. The lottery tickets are fun. Throw in a 16 team parlay on a weekly basis. Try to see if you can pick them all. Throw a buck on it. That's my Powerball ticket, dude. I feel like I have a better chance of doing that than winning a freaking lottery.
Dude, one of those betting pages posted this guy did a 4-leg parlay, the NBA championship, the baseball championship, NFL championship, and I think he did like NASCAR or hockey
Yeah.
or some other like league. And he had hit 3 out of 4, and the cash out was like something ridiculous. And I think the only thing he had left was the NBA championship. And like the question was, do you cash out and like take your 20 G's, or do you fucking let it ride and try to
Yes.
win like 40 G's?
Yes, absolutely. Unless you're the type of person that's betting, 20, 30 grand on like straight bets or whatever it is, like if you can turn $1, $5, $10 into 20 grand, you take it and run.
You cash the fuck out, huh?
Yes. Because how crushing, like obviously, yeah, it's that freaking meme of the miner going through the ground. He gives up right before he hits the diamonds. But like you can't. I don't know, dude. Because I would feel way worse if I was like, dude, I could have cashed out and freaking 2,000 times my money, and instead I just lost $5.
That would feel worse than the feeling of letting it ride. No, that would feel better than the feeling of letting it ride and losing.
Oh, for sure, for sure. And granted, nothing would top letting it ride and winning, and that 20 grand becoming 100 grand.
Yeah.
But oh, dude, this Tony the Tiger Bowl is getting tight, dude. ASU's down 3 with 2 minutes left.
My New Year's resolution is to win all of my bets tomorrow.
Tomorrow, start the year
No,
off right.
my New Year's resolution is for Hollywood to post this pod on YouTube. Whatever I got to do to make it happen. If I got to pull Hollywood by the ear and sit him in front of a how to make a YouTube channel and post tutorial, then that's what I'll do.
Oh,
Yeah, right. Here you go. Here's my ear. Get ready to hold it. Fine. My New Year's resolution is get more photos of Mike to put on my background.
There we go.
That's our fucking boy, Mike. He's the fourth.
He's
12,
the fourth 12 talking. He never says anything. He's just there.
He doesn't talk 10, but he's a 12.
He's definitely 12.
All right, stay safe tonight, gentlemen.
Alrighty, you two boys. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Most you love you.
Most you love you.
Love you, most you.